6 humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. The dying fire in need of logs, the first man held his back, for of the faces round the fire, he noticed one was black. The next man, looking across the way, saw one not of his church and couldn't bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. The third one sat in tattered clothes, he gave his coat a hitch. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? The rich man just sat back and thought the wealth he had in store and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The black man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from his side, for all he saw in his stick of wood was a chance to spite the white. The last man of this forlorn group did not accept the gain, giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. Their logs held tight in death's still hands was proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without, they died from the cold within. 6 humans are, by the turn of fate, trapped together and biting cold, and each of them have a stick of wood. The fire that has been keeping them warm is dying out and needs logs to stay alight, and the rest of the poem narrates the story of how each of them refused to throw in their log. The first woman holds hers back on account of another's race. The next, because a member of the group practices a religion different from his. The third, a poor man, cannot think of helping a rich man. The rich man can only go so far as to think of his own wealth and how he can keep it from the hands of the lesser men. The black man, a victim of racial discrimination, only sought revenge against the white man. The sixth and last man sitting around the fire cared only to advance a favor when he too received one in turn. And so the 6 humans died, killed by their own hate, a human sin. The poem is written in stanzas of 4 lines each with a rhyme scheme of A, B, C, B. There are 3 different poetic devices that I want to look at, the first of which is alliteration, which you can see in the line in bleak and bitter cold. The next is an oxymoron, which is a figure of speech in which 2 words that are completely opposite in meaning follow each other for dramatic effect. So in this case, we have forlorn group, where forlorn means lonely or someone sitting by themselves, and a group, well, you know what group means. The last of this is personification, which is when an inanimate object is given human-like feelings or movement. Written by an American in the 1960s, which was also the timeline for the civil rights movement, the poem was rejected for being too controversial because it carried a strong message against racial discrimination. The poet himself, it is said, was a victim of discrimination. Discrimination is futile. In the end, the humans were so blinded by bigotry that they all perished. The absence of warmth and compassion is startling. Even when they are all in adversity, they cannot be driven to put aside their differences. The fire that dies out can well be interpreted as the fire of compassion. In the end, it is important to understand that hate is hard to erase from the human heart, and so we must never let it pervade our lives in the first place. After all, as Nelson Mandela put it, no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite.